There we go. So coming to find a comfortable seat, something you can maintain for about half an hour. We aspire to come and sit in stillness, like to drop into a stillness, but because that holding the body physically still supports the mental stillness, the mind coming to settle. That being said, of course, you're free to move and take care of your body as needed. So we want to find a balance between comfort and uprightness or alertness. And for some people, this means they lay down, and others sit up, supported or unsupported. So over the first few minutes of the sit, allowing yourself that process of settling in. So continuing to shift the body as needed, and closing the eyes to keep out visual distraction. Notice what's going on for you right now physically. What's the body, the sensations? Noticing your energy level and the quality of your energy, whether it's bright or heavy. Maybe noticing the momentum of the thinking mind. So if you've been busy mentally, problem solving, worrying, anxious, fantasizing, planning. There's a kind of energy that accompanies the thoughts, kind of momentum, like spinning a wheel. We're really active mentally, it speeds up, and we feel that maybe as a pressure, as a forward momentum. What's next? What's next? So just notice. And as we drop into our practice, it's like we're downshifting, like you do in a car. If you have driven a manual car, you go down gear by gear. And you can assist this process if needed, if there's a urge to, by taking a few deep breaths. Could slow the breath down, controlling nice full belly breath in, and a slow, full exhalation. And doing that a few times, or as many times as it takes, you feel the body and the mind start to settle a little further. You can just let go back into the natural breath, body breathing. And we can set an intention, recognizing that what we're doing is meaningful. And that we have the means and wisdom to do it. So we could have a little gratitude in the heart. I'm healthy enough. I care about myself and others enough to undertake practice. And all the ways we are supported, we're not independently experiencing these good conditions. We've received the kindness of others continuously all through our life. If you recognize that, if you can feel the ways in which you're supported, you can actually make your practice a form of generosity, returning that kindness. We'll start our practice with a meditation on the breath, mindfulness of the body breathing. So we allow the body to breathe without controlling it. We observe what it's like. What's the breath like? And you can choose to rest the attention in any part of the breath or the whole of the breath. So you could be aware of the body and kind of even the space around the body as it breathes. A sense of lifting and lowering, rising, falling. Or you could investigate the breath in the belly, more specifically, or the chest, or the tip of the nose. And identifying in as you breathe in, out as you breathe out. It helps to slow the mind down. You could notice the beginning of the inhalation, the middle, find the end of the inhalation, and waiting for it begins the exhalation, beginning of the exhalation, middle of the exhalation, end of the exhalation. Noticing any progressive ease or relaxation that comes. Maybe some part of the body that was held relaxes a little. Or you notice your mental energy settling. And there's kind of a shift at some point to leaning back, allowing the breath to be received. So we're not hunting or seeking the breath. We're waiting, we're receptive. It's appearing, and we're observing it. And get a taste of a kind of effortless mindfulness. So we're applying just enough effort to touch the sensations of the body breathing, to know them. So if we find ourselves drift into dullness, we brighten the attention a little. If we find the mind still active, wandering, drifting, thinking, we rest back into the breath, letting go again and again. Find ourselves deeply relaxed and brightly alert. Breath and awareness of breath. Maybe opening a little wider than the breath, so we're aware of the sensations of body breathing. Tingling in the body, pressure. Aware of the space in the body and around the body. Our sphere of interest, you could think, is kind of about arm's reach from the body in every direction. If you can let go of any ideas. So every time that I use words to point to something, it triggers a concept, body, breath, ground. See if you can investigate your direct experience without moving into concepts, just the touching, the knowing of whatever is appearing. Bring your attention to your heart space, center of the chest, about the level of your physical heart. Imagine there's a opening the size of a grapefruit, let's say. And as you feel the body breathe in, as you feel the inhalation, just sense the inhalation, imagine it's moving from the space in front of your heart through the hole to the back. And as you exhale, imagine exhaling from back through the heart to the front. And for the last minute or so of the sit, if you like, letting the eyes open, but continuing to meditate. You're welcome to remain in physical stillness if you're quite comfortable, or you could shift and stretch and adjust how you're sitting. So for those of you who are new, I'm going to talk a little about the topic that we're on tonight, and then we'll have a bit of a chance for discussion and check-in, questions around the topic and around the 100 Days of Care, which is the book that we're looking at, the workbook that we're all doing, or many of us, maybe not everyone. So the topic tonight is energy. If you look on the chalkboard here, we started with determination for the first 10-day period, and then loving kindness, truthfulness or honesty, ethical self-discipline. And now, a few days ago, we shifted into energy or effort. Oh. Effort or energy is appears everywhere in the teaching. So it appears in this list, and it appears in the 7 factors of enlightenment, and the 5 of these, and the 87 of those, no, 37 of something else. So it's an important, it's a very important attitude or understanding that we need to get a handle on, I think, if we want to start making progress on our path or continue to make progress. It has to do with not just building up energy, but managing the energy that we have and the effort that we undertake. So understanding that I guess it's kind of the navigation of energy or the channeling of the energy. So the energy is here already, right? We've got energy coming all the time, and we're involved in effort, lots of efforts all day long. We know how to get the things we need, right? If we're coming to a session like this, we know how to feed ourselves and dress ourselves. Like we can do all the worldly things, and much more than that. We get ourselves educated, we get ourselves a career, so the application of effort is needed for any of that, right? We have to understand how to apply it. If we want to become a doctor, we have to put our effort into the things that create that. We have to study and then go to medical school and take the tests. And so on the path, the effort is around, it's kind of the opposite of every worldly thing that we undertake. The effort is around letting go. Right? So we're putting our energy into ending the clinging, you could say, right? That's the root concern here. So yeah, I won't go that way first. So it's a letting go gradually at first. So you can think of it as like letting go of some of our bad habits, letting go of our resentments, letting go of the mental stickiness we have around things, some of our addictions, or maybe we shop a little too much, or eat a little too much, or drink a little too much. So a letting go of in a gradual manner, but that eventually what we're letting go of is the confusion that we have about how things are. Yeah. So, but I don't want to go right there, so I'll back off again. I have this lovely diagram that I put up the other day on the internet, that so the perfection of energy, the understanding of energy in this context has this 4-fold application that I've put it in the shape of a flower because they all work together, and the most common understanding of this is cultivation, like a garden, right? So rather than being progressive, we're doing all 4 at the same time, and they're supportive of letting go. Yeah? Whether it's a gradual thing we're letting go of, or dropping the whole business. So the first one is the putting aside what is unhelpful, unskillful, dark, or heavy. Yeah. So this is when you notice that you have anxiety or fear or anger or craving arising in the mind, this first application of effort is around dropping it, like letting that go. Yeah. So coming into this night perfectly arranged by the US elections, many people, if you weren't disturbed by it or involved in the politics yourself, if you're in contact with almost any other being, Yeah, there's a lot of posts on social media, a lot of people talking about the election, a lot of people really concerned by it. Yeah. And yeah, I don't tend to talk about politics, but in this case, it's an example of something that I think was a pretty widely experienced thing, kind of like COVID. When COVID hit and we were all talking about that and feeling the effects of that, it was like a universal sort of shared experience. So maybe a bit like that with the elections yesterday. So I noticed myself this morning feeling pretty upset, feeling pretty disappointed. As a woman in particular, here's another case where it's it's the same old thing. And so then I stopped myself and I thought, well, is Trump here in my house causing me specific problem? No. So there's this shift that you can take any time that you find yourself agitated, of asking yourself, is it happening right now? Is there some kind of danger that I'm in? Yeah. Because if you think of it in this example of somebody, some figure, so it doesn't have to be American politics, it could be somebody that you're in conflict with at your work, or somebody who's every time you think of them, you just, oh my God, you get consumed by it, right? So are you, the idea here is to see that you're a prisoner of your thoughts about it, right? So he's not actually harming me directly in this moment. So the reaction, the almost physiological reaction I'm having, is a part of a mental confabulation, an elaboration, part of a story, part of a set of beliefs. Basically, I don't think this person should be doing this thing. I don't think the world should be it shouldn't happen like this. This is unfair, this is wrong. And that reactivity is, you're basically giving the object of the concern free rein in your mind to trample around in there and harm you. Right? Do you see what I'm pointing to? It's like the one thing is that it happened, and then the other is that you're reliving it over and over and over. Right? This is a clinging to opinions, clinging to belief. So this first application of effort is to put aside what is disturbing the mind, to let it go, to make room for it, because you're of no use to anyone when you're panicking and anxious. It's not skillful. Yeah. So then the second, I'll just shift from that into the second one, guard the mind against picking up what is unhelpful. So once you've let go, so you can either have like some clarity or insight, like I just described, where you realize there's actually not anything bad happening, so I can let that go and do what's in front of me. So you could have kind of an instant dropping out of the anxiousness and into washing the dishes or whatever else you're up to. Or you can distract yourself. Like just go do something else, get involved with something else mentally. Yeah. Then guarding the mind. So once you're then you're, okay, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, I'm present with the activity I'm doing. And then the work of effort is to guard the mind against picking up something else that's agitating. And so you're maintaining that effortless ease, that open-hearted presence. What's directly happening in this moment? I can feel my feet. I can feel the temperature in the air. I'm relaxed. My body's comfortable. What's the next skillful thing that I need to do? Oh, there, I've got to answer this email. and you're present for it, attentive to it, and then you do that. And then the next thing comes up. Yeah? Somebody texts you, and then you attend to that. So you're guarding against that reactivity and the agitation that's going to come, right? Like this is one thing, is there's no shortage of buttons being pushed. There's no shortage of experiences that you're reactive to, because you're holding on in the background, you're holding on to a bunch of ideas. And so every interaction, there's a processing of, how does this fit with my idea of what should be happening? And then the reactivity is in that space. It's not what I want. I can't have it. I don't want it. And that is the unhelpful, unskillful that's coming up. Right? So this, I think many of you came, this is years ago now, we did mindful improv. I don't know if, I had Bree Watson from Niagara Improv came, and we co-taught sessions on improv. And if you know anything about improv, the first rule of improv is to say yes to everything. So someone comes on stage, whatever they say to you, you accept it, and then you add to it, or you play with it in that way. So this kind of say yes to everything. Yeah. So if you're not saying yes in the moment, if you're resisting or rejecting some part of your experience, I don't like it, I don't want it, it doesn't fit with my idea of how things should be, then you're in conflict. You're in denial of reality, because it is happening. Do you see? So you allow it to come, and you apply the most skill you can in your response to it. So all of our practice is really around the relationship we have with the experiences that are unfolding. And so all of the mindfulness is so that you can most skillfully navigate the experience of being human in a human body. What is skillful? Skillful is what leads to peace, to that lack of resistance, to an alignment with how things are. So if you're in denial about getting old, you're going to have a hard time. Yeah. I shouldn't have wrinkles. Sorry. That's how it is. So your relationship to how things are appearing and unfolding, the skillfulness is in having just this radical acceptance. That's how it is. So put aside what is unskillful and heavy, dark, minds that are agitating, minds that are wanting to harm, and don't pick them up again. And then on the other side, we're establishing what is light, wholesome, and helpful in the mind. So qualities like generosity, patience, compassion. These are leading to peace. This is a matter of that inner compass, right? So you want to attune to your direct experience. Notice when it's like this, contracted, resisting, and then open. Huh? So when it's open, there's no problem. Everything's smooth. It's appearing. You're dealing skillfully with it. So you're establishing that wholesomeness, celebrating what is good in yourself and others. So what is it to... So it's not just that we practice generosity, like I'm going to go give, I'm going to go find a way to give something, or it's we notice generosity everywhere, not just our own, but other people's generosity. We're tuned into that. Like if you know the practice of gratitude journal, and how when you do that, you get in touch with the feeling of gratitude inside. So same thing, generosity, um, compassion, patience. You can practice just with your own, but if you practice with everybody's, it's like amplified, right? You see all day long, you're looking for what is wholesome. Right. So I don't know if I was clear on that. So with the gratitude, when you practice gratitude, you see gratitude, you see more reasons for gratitude. When you practice noticing generosity and being generous, you're going to see the generosity more. It's what your mind will tune into. And this is in contrast, if you're not training the mind, to allowing it to just get agitated, and it just grinds on the agitation. And that's what your world is like one disappointment after another. Why me? I can't take it, you know? So the shift is from sitting in that to what can I find that is wholesome and heart opening, and then resonating with that. So we establish it, and then that fourth effort is to support and encourage it. So it's like with the garden analogy, putting aside negativities is like weeding the garden, taking out all the weeds that are obstructing the good qualities, and then not allowing weeds to grow. And then we establish the seeds we want to plant: kindness, mindfulness, patience, compassion. And then we support and encourage them, intentionally practicing them. So this is why in the 100 Days of Care, you have that section on intention. What am I going to do today for the benefit of my future self and others? That's basic. What am I going to establish and then support and encourage? Yeah. And so this is energy, and it's like a navigation rather than just an effort. It's a discerning. So you have to be mindful, paying attention, and then shifting. And always I'm bringing it back to this, having a bit of a daily practice, because your daily meditation, whether it's 5 minutes or 20 minutes, is what's going to give you the space during your regular off cushion life, the other 23 and a half hours. It's going to give you that space in which to notice what the mind's doing and choose to navigate towards mental freedom, peace. Yeah. And to tie it back into the example of the American politics or any kind of thing that sets you off, if you want to change the world, this inner work is what will change it. You cultivate, support, and encourage wholesomeness in your mind, loving kindness, honesty, ethical discipline, so we're not harming, generosity, renunciation or letting be, patience. You cultivate this. This is the gift that the world needs. If everybody did this, there would be no problem. I was recently saw a story that's familiar to me, but might not be familiar to you, and that is this. And this is just generalizing because it happened in a number of instances, not just one time, but with the occupation of Tibet by the Chinese. So if you don't know the history, the Chinese decided that Tibet was not an autonomous region, but part of China, and they marched in. And they murdered and raped and burnt down monasteries, that had been there for thousands of years. So the Dalai Lama fled into exile and into India, and many people escaped. But many were also captured. So there were monks that were imprisoned by the Chinese government and nuns for many, many, many years, kept in prison, tortured, and not good. Yeah. And what happened for not just once, but repeatedly, is these monks would eventually be released from prison and asked how they were doing, and they were, their eyes are shining, they're happy and relaxed. How was it? Well, it was hard, but they had their practice, this mind training that we're studying here, training in compassion, training in love. What was your biggest concern in prison? My biggest concern was that I would lose compassion for the Chinese, for the torturers, for the people that had me in prison. So there's examples of this in a lot of different places. Usually these types of people become saints. We think it's impossible to forgive those who are harming us. But it's a beautiful example of something we can aspire to. Peace before everything else. I will not give up my peace of mind for anything. Good. So I think that's enough talking from me. Let's see what's on anyone else's mind, or comments or questions.